Well, good morning on this gloomy Monday morning. Upon the demon-ridden pilgrimage of human life, what next, I wonder? That's from the novel The Sea by Iris Murdoch. Very interesting book about human frailty, self-deceit, and endless delusions and delusions in life. And as Margot says in the movie All About Eve, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy night. I'm going to get into something a bit serious here. For me personally, and I think that this is a proposal that a lot of people can relate to on a local, national, and international scale, as we continue to find ourselves compromised by substandard and regrettable decisions by certain political parties. So, of course, you know where I'm headed. And up front, you might find this proposition to be simplistic and naive, and it is, but I think that we need to mandate it that at least 50% of our elected officials are women, simply because all of these self righteous men are fucking up this planet at unscrupulous degrees. And it's always a man who runs this kind of regime. And according to a 2020 article, there are currently 52 nations in the world with a dictator or authoritarian regime. The current standouts are Putin, of course, Kim Jong-un, North Korea, Raisi in Iran, Assad in Syria, Viktor Orban in Hungary, Erdogan in Turkey, and Nazarbayev in Kazakhstan, and lastly Trump, of course, who won't go away. And as to him getting reelected, I don't believe that he'll get the nomination. He leaves way too much shit in his wake, and how all these flimsy machismo crap survives, I just don't understand it. Women never have this idiotic and brutal fantasy, and they tend to be much more reasonable and maternal. And I'm praying for a reincarnation of George Carlin now. We desperately need him more now than ever. And if it's not asking too much, I'd like to see about 3 million of him scattered around the planet, but of course, this is a pipe dream. There's been way too many men in power that have decimated innocent populations and countries, and for what purpose? And the answer to the question is usually the same one in each case. They want to be in power for as long as they possibly can, as their insecurity is monumental, simply because dictators are always a target, and they know it. It's best to eliminate your enemies, and they usually have a boatload of them. Just look back at the 19th and 20th century, and we're only 23 years into this century. And as I stated several videos back, there are approximately 40 different skirmishes going on right now on our planet, and all of these countries or statehoods are run by men. I do admit that I have some short-term memory loss and some mid-term memory loss also, and long-term memory loss. So anyways, onward and downward I go. So a guy walks into a bar and asks the barmaid if he could tell a blonde joke, and the barmaid responds by saying that, well, I'm a blonde, so I'm pretty sure that I don't want to hear it. And my bouncer is a 275-pound guy, and he's blonde, so he's not going to want to hear it either. And my best friend 2 chairs down is a blonde, and she doesn't want to hear it. And my chef is a blonde, and I don't believe he wants to hear it. And also my manager is a blonde, and well, you know the rest. So the guy says, oh, okay, no, I understand, no problem, because I didn't want to have to repeat the joke 5 times, or 5 different times. Have you ever thought that humanity keeps fixing everything until it's broke? I like that one. And I always like the saying, when it comes to women, they come to me. However, for me, that was not much of a factor. They usually had excuses when I asked them out, and there were hundreds of them. My mother is very sick, and I have to take care of her. I'm moving out of town in the next week. I have a boyfriend. I'm considering suicide. I'm a lesbian, or I'll get back to you if you give me your number. Whatever, you get used to it. Welcome to the United States today, where you're guaranteed to have a mass shooting today, tomorrow, and the day after, and so on and so on. It happens virtually every day now, and some politicians will tell reporters that they can't do anything about it. Can't do anything? Really? Legislatures are supposed to do something about it. That's their job. Unless, of course, they're in real tight with the NRA and realize that the polling informs that the majority of their constituents are pro-gun. Well, if that's the case, then make sure you attend the funerals for each innocent child, woman, and man that dies by gunfire innocently, and see what their families have to say about it. And what would they think if one of the victims was their daughter or son or wife or husband or friend? These politicians are bought and sold. And are the ties to the gun lobby so important that you risk the lives of innocent constituents? I don't understand it. I don't want to wish this upon anybody, but I would surmise that if they lost a family member in a mass shooting, they might think differently, hopefully. But for some of these loyalists to the NRA, they should consider the term denial syndrome. Death is final. They took an oath to protect their community and provide the best alternatives for them. I don't enjoy saying this, but they're just goddamn cowards. These legislators have no backbone or fortitude, and it makes me sick. But you never know. Maybe they'll wake up to this nightmare and come together and save the innocent people and children that have to die every damn day simply because 50% of their constituents got to have their guns. Come on, grow up and be a human being. We're all in this together. I get a kick out of the Trump at his rallies with the MAGA sign. So, what happened to the Make America Great Again in his last term? And he's still pumping out all this bullshit. You had 4 years to make us great again, but as most of us know, it didn't happen. It didn't make us great again. But I think your gig is up now, and most people are exhausted with your lies and posturing. It's getting really old. And according to Fact Check, you had more than 31,000 lies during your presidency, which is hard to believe. And you factor in the original campaign, and since he's been out of office, it's probably approaching 40,000 now. Trump doesn't deal with the truth. It's too complicated for him, and he's addicted to lying to serve his needs. And lastly, I just wanted to say that on the list of comedians I provided two videos ago, prior to this one, I neglected to include Jackie Mason and Zach Galifianakis on the list. Both of them definitely deserve to be on it, and the list now contains 100 comics/comedians plus the entire list of the people on SNL in the past 48 seasons. And I'll stop here.